At about this point, the average mortal ascender begins to manifest bona fide experiential enthusiasm for the Havana ascent. Study is becoming voluntary, unselfish service natural, and worship spontaneous. A real Morancha character is budding. A real Morancha creature is evolving. The privilege of inter-universe travel and observation is a part of the career of all ascending beings. The human desire to travel and observe new peoples and worlds will be fully gratified during the long and eventful climb to paradise through the local, super, and central universes. The sixth mansion world. Here they also receive their first lessons in the prospective spirit career, which so immediately follows graduation from the Morancha training of the local universe. The assistant system sovereign makes frequent visits to this world, and the initial instruction is here begun in the technique of universe administration. The first lessons embracing the affairs of a whole universe are now imparted. This is a brilliant age for ascending mortals and usually witnesses the perfect fusion of the human mind and the divine adjuster. In potential, this fusion may have occurred previously, but the actual working identity many times is not achieved until the time of the sojourn on the fifth mansion world or even the sixth. The union of the evolving immortal soul with the eternal and divine adjuster is signalized by the seraphic summoning of the supervising archangel for resurrected survivors and of the archangel of record for those going to judgment on the third day, and then in the presence of such a survivor's Morancha associates, these messengers of confirmation speak, "This is a beloved son in whom I am well pleased." This simple ceremony marks the entrance of an ascending mortal upon the eternal career of paradise service. Immediately upon the confirmation of adjuster fusion, the new Morancha being is introduced to his fellows for the first time by his new name, and is granted the 40 days of spiritual retirement from all routine activities wherein to commune with himself and to choose some one of the optional routes to Havana, and to select from the differential techniques of paradise attainment. But still are these brilliant beings more or less material. They are far from being true spirits. They are more like supermortals, spiritually speaking, still a little lower than the angels, but they are truly becoming marvelous creatures. The seventh mansion world. During your sojourn here, you will receive the instruction of many teachers, all of whom will cooperate in the task of preparing you for residence on Jerusalem. Any discernible difference between those mortals hailing from the isolated and retarded worlds and those survivors from the more advanced and enlightened spheres are virtually obliterated during the sojourn on the seventh mansion world. Here you will be purged of all the remnants of unfortunate heredity, unwholesome environment, and unspiritual planetary tendencies. The last remnants of the, quote, mark of the beast, end quote, are here eradicated. While sojourning on Mansion World number 7, permission is granted to visit Transition World number 7, the world of the Universal Father. Here you begin a new and more spiritual worship of the unseen Father, a habit you will increasingly pursue all the way up through your long ascending career. You find the Father's temple on this world of transitional culture, but you do not see the Father. Now begins the formation of classes for graduation to Jerusalem. You have gone from world to world as individuals, but now you prepare to depart for Jerusalem in groups. although within certain limits. An ascender may elect to tarry on the seventh mansion world for the purpose of enabling a tardy member of his earthlier Mansonia working group to catch up with him. The personnel of the seventh Mansonia assemble on the Sea of Glass to witness your departure for Jerusalem with residential status. Hundreds or thousands of times you may have visited Jerusalem, but always as a guest. Never before have you proceeded towards the system capital in the company of a group of your fellows who were bidding an eternal farewell to the whole Mansonia career as ascending mortals. You will soon be welcomed on the receiving field of the headquarters world as Jerusalem citizens. You will greatly enjoy your progress through the 7 dematerializing worlds. They are really demortalizing spheres. You are mostly human on the first mansion world, just a mortal being minus a material body, a human mind housed in a Morontia form. A material body of the Morontia world, but not a mortal house of flesh and blood. You really pass from the mortal state to the immortal status at the time of adjuster fusion, and by the time you have finished the Jerusalem career, you will be full-fledged Morontians. Jerusalem, the capital of our system. Jerusalem is an average capital of a local system, and aside from numerous irregularities occasioned by the Lucifer rebellion and the bestowal of Michael on Yuranshia, it is typical of similar spheres. Your local system has passed through some stormy experiences, but it is at present being administered most efficiently, and as the ages pass, the results of disharmony are being slowly but surely eradicated. Order and goodwill are being restored, and the conditions on Jerusalem are more and more approaching the heavenly status of your traditions, for the system headquarters is truly the heaven visualized by the majority of 20th century religious believers. When a new class of Mansion World graduates arrive, all Jerusalem assemble as a committee of welcome. John the Apostle and Revelator saw a vision of the arrival of a class of advancing mortals from the seventh Mansion World to their first heaven, the glories of Jerusalem. He recorded, "And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and those who had gained the victory over the beast that was originally in them, and over the image that persisted through the mansion worlds, and finally over the last mark and trace, standing on the sea of glass, having the harps of God, and singing the song of deliverance from mortal fear and death." And then in the Revelation, in parentheses, it states, "Perfected space communication is to be had on all these worlds, and your anywhere reception of such communications is made possible by carrying the harp of God, a Morontia contrivance compensating for the inability to directly adjust the immature Morontia sensory mechanism to the reception of space communications." End of a quote. Paul also had a view of the ascendant citizens' corps of perfecting mortals on Jerusalem, for he wrote, quote, "But you have come to Mount Zion, and to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to an innumerable company of angels, to the grand assembly of Michael, and to the spirits of just men being made perfect." After mortals have attained residence on the system headquarters, no more literal resurrections will be experienced. The Morontia farm granted you on departure from the Mansion World career is such as will see you through to the end of the local universe experience. Changes will be made from time to time, but you will retain this same form until you bid it farewell when you emerge as first-stage spirits preparatory for transit to the super-universe worlds of ascending culture and